April was National Organ Donation Month, and local families who have been touched by the decision to donate life are sharing their stories in hopes of inspiring others to decide to give the gift of life.
Rachel Prichard sat down with two families who have been impacted firsthand by organ donation and is joining us live to share their stories. Rachel?
Yeah, Tim and Jen, here at Conemaugh Memorial Medical Center, they're paying respects to the people who decided to give someone else a second chance at life using this donor wall as you see behind me. In our area, there are 5 transplant centers, and in Western Pennsylvania alone, over 2,000 people are waiting to hear that they have a second chance at life.
Organ donations impacts millions in the United States. Whether you know someone who decided to give or someone who's alive today thanks to a donor, organ donation has touched the lives of many, and it's sometimes when you least expect it.
It's something you don't typically think about. And then when you're faced with that decision right in front of you, you are given no other options, and you have to think about things.
Anna Oldham lost her 7-year-old son Jason tragically over 4 years ago after an accidental drowning during swim lessons at a lake in Bedford County. And as she was dealing with the loss of her son, she was asked, what about his organs?
I sat back and I thought, if he could tell me anything, whenever he was being ripped from his life at such a young age, that's what he would have told me was, Mom, let me help somebody else. And that's what made the ultimate decision.
Anna says her son loved life and would have wanted his memory to live on in others.
There again, I thought back, how would he have wanted it? He would want somebody else to be able to live on and have a normal life.
Jason saved 3 people that he and his family never even met.
All 3 of his recipients are doing well. His left kidney went to an 8-year-old little girl, and her parents are nothing more than delighted to be able to share that time with her. And the 24-year-old male at the time, he got the right kidney, and he was doing well. The 69-year-old female that received the liver, she's doing phenomenal.
Over 113,000 people are currently waiting for a life-saving transplant, with over 7,000 living here in Pennsylvania. Thousands waiting to get the call. Someone is saving their life.
Maybe months to years even. So I think if you look across the board, with the growth of transplantation, I'd say a little over half of the patients will probably organ within the first year after listing. And the rest of them actually can may have to wait anywhere from 2 to say 4 years, or even some of them will even go to the 5th year, which is why organ donation is such a pressing need at any given time.
A little under 60% of the U.S. residents eligible to be an organ donor actually choose to be. Those numbers are even lower in the state of Pennsylvania. Center County actually has the highest percentage of registered donors in the state. They hover around the national average of 58%. Whereas just over 51% of Blair County residents are registered organ donors. And Cambria and Somerset counties rank lower. Under 50% of their populations are registered.
When you go to heaven, you don't need your organs. Why not give them to somebody else who may be sick and need them, to be able to see their loved ones grow up and to be able to live a particularly normal life.
One Blair County man says he's alive today because someone he never met made the decision to donate life.
Life couldn't be any better, and it all comes from a man that I never met. And he made that choice to be an organ donor. And
Jeremy Wyatt lived most of his life with cystic fibrosis, which is a rare hereditary disease that affects the lungs and the digestive system. CF can be life-threatening, and those with the condition have a shorter than normal lifespan.
there is no cure for it. And the only outcome is through organ donation. And without a transplant, there is no future with cystic fibrosis.
Throughout the summer of 2012, his condition worsened. Jeremy was admitted to the hospital and was told his only two options were a transplant or death.
You can do
So
it.
the hunt for an organ began.
From the time that they listed me until the time that I got the transplant, it was pretty quick, but that's not normally the case. And with the amount of organ shortage that there is, and the way that the whole transplant procedure works, the hardest part about the transplant would be not enough organs.
Jeremy underwent a double lung transplant and recalls what it was like waking up and taking his first full breath after years of struggling to breathe.
I didn't know how bad I was breathing until, and I didn't get the real full first breath until I had my trach taken out and I was strong enough to actually take a breath, but it was like something I'd never felt before. It was just unreal.
After a year and a half of recovery, Jeremy is completely healthy, working and chasing after his 2 children. Gavin, who's now 10 years old, and 2.5-year-old Joelle, who's named after her father's transplant doctor.
I regained over 100% health and got back to work, and now running to football practice, basketball practice, chasing around a 3-year-old.
Without his donor, the last 6.5 years of Jeremy's life would not have been possible.
It is definitely a second chance, yeah. Because in my situation, that was all I had, and if it wouldn't be for the organ donor and his decision, I wouldn't be here today.
Both the Wyatt and the Oldham families have vastly different stories, but one thing in common: the bond of giving and receiving the gift of life.
If you're interested in becoming an organ donor, it's as easy as making the decision when you're taking your driver's license test or renewing your driver's license. Both of these people have vastly different stories, like I said, but we're all touched by the gift of giving life. If you are interested in giving life or have any other questions, you can contact the Center for Organ Recovery and Education, or CORE. At Conemaugh Memorial Medical Center, Rachel Prichard, 6 News.